morning, students. Let us continue with our security management in cloud, which is a part of Unit 4. And today we will be considering about SaaS and PaaS availability management. Availability management, as I told you in the previous session, is a very important factor to keep the business ongoing. So with respect to SaaS and PaaS will be considered. So the customers basically should be aware of the different points that are specified in the SLA by the providers, and also the providers are specifying some of the tools basically to check the availability of their services. We will be studying about the tools and the various ways to check whether the health of the service provided is appropriately working or no. But the customers also should demand at times the various things which are missing or are as a gaps in the service level agreements. We will be studying about that in today's session. Let us see. So SaaS availability management, basically the SaaS service providers are responsible for the business continuity, the applications and the infrastructure security management processes. So SaaS providers basically have a major responsibility basically of trying to see that the security processes are basically managed properly, also the applications are managed properly, and also the business continuity is to be maintained properly. If all the services are running properly, of course the business continuity can be managed. So this means that the major task which was basically firstly handled by the IT organization, once upon it was handling it, now it is going to be handled by the cloud service provider. So the task has been drifted basically from the IT organization to the cloud service providers. So there are some of the mature organizations that are basically aligned with the industry standards like ITIL, which we studied in the last class. So these will be facing new challenges of governance, and basically for the SaaS services, as they try to map the internal service level categories to the CSP. So there are going to be major challenges when you specifically use the industry standards like ITIL. Now SaaS vendors basically may not offer SLAs. As I told you, some of the SLAs or some of the points may not be offered. At times some of the SLAs may not be offered and may simply address something called as service terms via terms and conditions. So they are not basically into a mood of giving you the SLAs. They do not want to offer the SLAs, and they address the service terms via terms and conditions. Like for example, you have Salesforce.com. It does not offer a standardized SLA as per the author, and this book was, as I said, written literally 12 years back. So this basically describes and specifies performance criteria and service commitments. So they do not offer the standard SLA. Now customers' responsibility, basically customers have to understand the SLA and communication methods. The different communication methods could be email, RSS feed, website URL with outage information. So there are certain websites basically which will give you the outage information, and this is basically to stay informed on the service outages. So when possible, customers should use automated tools like you have Nagios. This is basically a tool which will tell you about the outages and the availability of the services, or SiteUp Time. These are basically used to verify the availability of SaaS services. So customers basically also are responsible for various other things, like we have one of the US based firm, like you have Software and Information Industry Association, that is in short called as SIIA. They basically published a paper and they focused on or analyzed the efficacy of the SaaS SLAs. They focused on analyzing basically the SLAs and specifically for the SaaS SLAs, and they analyzed it in the context of software vendors and which are moving to a SaaS delivery model. So this basically, this specific paper, it was a white paper basically, it concluded that certain elements are necessary to make the SLA an effective document, and it stated that the communication and clear expectations are required from both the service provider as well as the customer. So the expectations have to be clearly specified and it needs to be clearly communicated between the service provider and the customer, and they are basically need to identify what is important and realistic with respect to the standards and expectations. So what are the expectations, what are the realistic needs, they need to be identified. So customers should also try to seek to understand the availability, management factors, including the SLAs of the service, and clarify with the CSP any gaps. So if there are any specific gaps in the SLA that need to be clarified with the cloud service provider, and also the service credits whenever there is a disruption. So whenever there is an upset of services, all these things basically need to be clarified. So customers of cloud service should note that basically in a multi-tenant environment where a multi-tenant service delivery model is provided, so this is basically designed for all of the customers in a similar manner. So that is what it is called as one size fits for all. So this is basically the operating principle in a multi-tenant environment. So in this case, which means that CSP typically is offering a standard SLA for all the types of customers. Now, but if there are certain customers who have basically medium or large enterprises who are basically into giving a good business to the cloud service provider with a sizable budget, so in this case a custom SLA may still be feasible. So it depends on the understanding between the customer and the service provider. It is very clear if good business is achieved, that is a sizable budget is basically given to a cloud service provider, so he can provide services accordingly. So that is where it is termed as a customized SLA can be signed. So let us see about the SaaS health monitoring points. So this basically are the options that are available to the customer who need to be informed about the health of their services. So service health dashboard. There is one specific dashboard which basically is published by the CSP, and this basically gives the information about the health of the services and health of the cloud service provider applications. So like for example, you have a SaaS provider such as Salesforce.com. They basically publish the current state of service, current outages that may impact the customers, and upcoming scheduled maintenance services on their website. And the website is with the URL trust.salesforce.com, which specifies the status /trust/status. This is the specific link which will specify the status of their application whenever they want to go for maintenance, whenever their services are upset. So the cloud computing incident database, that is termed as CCID, this basically is a database that is generally communicating or supporting the community group and may not reflect all the CSPs and all the incidents that have occurred. So at times it may just specify some of the limited things that are basically needed for the service provider. Major outages, as I said, could be a major problem to the cloud service provider, and he may not list all the details because it may affect his business. Now the other points related to SaaS health monitoring. Customer mailing list basically notifies that customers of occurring and recently occurred outages. So customer can be notified by mailing also. So there is a mailing list that is with the vendor, so they can mail it also. Mail regarding the outages in the recently which are occurred. So internal or third party based service monitoring tools that are periodically checking the status of the SaaS provider health, and they are also alerting the customers when the service becomes unavailable. So basically SaaS providers health normally is always running, but the customers are basically interested to know when it is down and when it will be coming up. So Nagios monitoring tool is basically useful, which will tell them now the SaaS providers applications are up and you can start using. So there are certain RSS feeds basically hosted at the SaaS service providers. So through these feeds also the customers can get to know about the health of the applications that are running. Now let us see about the PaaS availability management. Things are going to be very similar like SaaS only, but let us see about it. So this is basically PaaS platform is basically built on the CSP owned and managed network servers, operating systems, strong interfaces which are basically useful for storage and application components specifically the web services. Now customer PaaS applications are assembled with the CSP's application components, and in some cases the third party web service components are also commingled with these, and they are termed as mashed up applications. So mashed up applications are where the third party tools are basically commingled with your website or maybe with the cloud service provider's website. So availability management of the PaaS application can be complicated basically in such environment. Like for example, you have a social networking website and or an application on Google App Engine, and that basically depends on the Facebook application for a contact service management. So this is basically a commingled service where the social networking application Google App Engine is depending on the Facebook app. So specifically the mashed up software development and architecture, the onus of the availability management is basically shared between the customer and the CSP. So it is depending on both. So the onus is on the both. So the customer is responsible basically for managing the availability of the customer developed application. So customer is basically developing his own applications in PaaS environment. So he is responsible for his own services. They have to be up. Of course, if the cloud service provider services are not up, he cannot do anything. Of course, but he can see that if the cloud service provider services are up, his services have to be up. So the responsibility is on basically both. And the PaaS CSP is responsible for the PaaS platform. As I said, the PaaS platform has to be up, only then the customer services can be up, or any other services that are basically supplied by the CSP. So like for example, you have Force.com is responsible for management of App Exchange. This is their application platform, and the customers are responsible for managing their applications which are developed and deployed on that platform. So if the Force.com is working, if the customer's web services are not working on that, the customer is responsible. But if the Force.com is not working, then the service provider is responsible. So PaaS providers may also offer a set of web services including a message queue service, identity and authentication service, and database services, and the application may depend on the availability of those services, those service components. Like you have an example, Google's Big Table is basically designed for such particular services. So PaaS application availability also depends on the robustness of the application, the PaaS platform on which the application is built, and the third-party web service components. So PaaS application availability is basically robust. The robustness of that depends on the application, the PaaS platform on which the application is built, and the third-party web service components. So platform as a service platform enforces quotas. So quotas are certain kind of resource limitations that need to be specified, and there could be two types of quotas. You can have a billable quota and you can have a fixed quota. So these quotas are basically quotas on some computer resources, like you have CPU, memory, network and I/O, and they, upon reaching the threshold, means now the resources are going to be over. So threshold is a warning kind of telling me beyond this or beyond after a certain limit also the things might be over. So they have to be responsible if the system goes down, if it is beyond the threshold. So the application may not be able to respond with the normal latency expectations and could even become unavailable. So in this case, like you have an example, Google App Engine, this has a quota system where each app engine basically resource, each app engine resource is measured against one of the two kinds of quotas, that is, I told you, billable quota and you have a fixed quota. So let us see about these different types of quotas which are used in Google App Engine. So billable quotas are, again, as I said, resource limitations or maximums which will tell you the quotas that are used, and these are basically set by the user, the application administrator, basically to prevent the cost of application from exceeding the budget. So as I told, these are budget quotas, and billable means they are going to be billed for these particular resources that are used. Beyond limit, if you use, then the bill could increase also, like it is in your mobile. You have limited download options, and if you are using beyond some specific limit, you will be charged. And you also get information or the message saying that the download options have increased, or the download capacity has increased, and the bill will increase with the usage accordingly. So every application basically gets an amount of each billable quota. As I said, your application has maybe 2 MB or 3 MB. So once it is used beyond 3 MB, you will be charged extra. Right? So similarly, like that, you have a billable quota here for computing resources. And within a specific limit, you have already paid, so you don't have to worry. So once there is an increase in the billable quotas for the applications by enabling billing, you have to set a daily budget. Like for example, in mobiles also a daily budget has been set up. So if you use beyond that, you get messages and saying that you will be charged extra. Right? So you basically have to set daily budget and then allocating the budget to the quotas. Even basically the mobile service providers are also basically doing the same, allotting budgets, because they have to give more preference to the people who are giving them more business, and people who are giving less business will be allocated less number of resources. So then you have something called as fixed quotas. These are resource maximums. Again, these are set by the app engine basically to ensure the integrity of the system. So these resources basically describe the boundaries of the architecture and all applications that are expected to run within the same limits. So all the applications, as it is termed as fixed, all the applications will run with the same number of resources or fixed number of resources, and the boundaries of the architecture are basically set. So they ensure that another app that is consuming too many resources will not affect the performance of the particular application. So let us see the customer's responsibility in PaaS environment. So PaaS application customer should carefully analyze the dependencies of the applications on the third-party web services, that is the components, and they have to outline a holistic management strategy to manage and monitor all the dependencies. So the following considerations are for PaaS customers. You can have PaaS platform service levels, the third-party web service provider service levels. Then you have network connectivity parameters basically for the network internet connecting PaaS platforms with third-party service providers. Now let us see about the PaaS platform service levels. So in this case, the customer should carefully review the terms and conditions of the CSP, the SLAs, and understand the availability constraints. So third-party web service provider service levels. Now in this case, when the PaaS application depends on the third-party service, it is basically a critical understanding that the SLAs of that service, for example, you have the PaaS application that may rely on the services such as Google Maps and use Google Maps API to embed maps in your specific website or web pages using the JavaScript. So here JavaScript is going to use the Google Maps API, and if Google Maps API is not working, obviously the JavaScript code in your website will not work. So accordingly you need to manage the services. Then network connectivity parameters, basically for network internet connecting the PaaS platform with the third-party service providers. Now the parties here include the parameters basically typically here include the bandwidth and the latency factor. So if the bandwidth and latency factors are fast, the internet service provider will be fast. Now let us see some of the PaaS health monitoring activities. Now the given basically composition is given, composition of PaaS applications. Customers should monitor their applications as well as the third-party web component services. So the customers basically need to monitor their application as well as along with it the third-party web component services. So when CSPs basically support monitoring via application programming interface that is termed as APIs, monitoring the applications can basically involve a standard web services, and the list is specified on the lower side. You can see the representation, state transfer protocol that is basically termed as REST, then you have simple object access protocol that is termed as SOAP, and then you have extensible markup language or hypertext transfer protocol that is termed as XML or HTTP, and a few other which are basically proprietary protocols also. Now let us see the options that are available for the customer to monitor the health of their services basically. Firstly, there is a dashboard which we saw even in SaaS. So there is a service help dashboard that is basically published by the CSP. Like in this case, you have status.zoho.com. So this will tell the latest status of the application, if at all there is any specific outage. Then you have the CCID database, and this database is generally community supported and may not reflect all the CSPs and the incidents that have occurred. So CSP's customer mailing list is available. This basically that notifies the customers of occurring and recently occurred outages. The following options again limited the PAS health monitoring, or they are going to inform about the PAS health monitoring. There are certain RSS feeds basically for the RSS readers, and which will tell about the availability and the outage information. And then you have internal or third party service monitoring tools, and these are basically helpful in periodically checking your PAS applications, as well as the third party web services that monitor your application, like we saw Nagios monitoring tool. So these are some of the assignments for today. You can just have a look at it. These are all 7 maths questions, because these topics considered today are pretty big topics, and it is all related to availability of SAS and PAS. Thank you for today. If you have any queries, you can contact me at the specified email ID. Thank you. We are done for today.